Hello and welcome back again, Coffee Beans. This is agricultural machinery and equipments. Definition of terms: UVW, ultrasonic nozzle, a pneumatic or vibratory atomizer in which energy is imparted to the liquid at high frequency. Common usage refers to frequencies within or above the human auditory range, but practice should be restricted to frequencies above 20 kHz. Undercarriage, assembly that supports auger and provides mobility. Universal milling machine, a milling machine designed and constructed that the table may be swiveled to a considerable angle in a horizontal plane to permit the milling of spiral twisted grooves, such as are cut and twist drills, spiral mills, etc. Unladen machine, a machine completely serviced with fuel, coolant and lubricants, carrying a driver having a minimum weight of 75 kilograms but no optional accessories. Weight ballast or material load. Upper hitch pin, pin that connects the upper link to the implement. Upper link pin, pin that connects the upper link to the tractor. Utility auger, a mobile auger which is not equipped with an auxiliary transport support. Valve float, a condition where the valves are forced open due to valve spring. Vibration or vibrating speed. Valve timing, the positioning of the camshaft gear to the crankshaft gear to ensure proper valve opening and closing. Vapor drift, the dispersion of vaporized chemical to the atmosphere and areas surrounding the target area during and following application. Variable cost, those costs vary with the volume of production, that is fuel, labor, electricity, etc. Variable speed fan, fan with controller that permits operating at a range of speeds, typically between 20 to 100% of maximum capacity. V-belt, flexible machine element used to transmit motion and power between two shafts, the cross-section of which is shaped roughly like a regular trapezoid outlined by the base, sides and top of the belt. V-belt drive, power transmission device, which consists of one or more V-belts, mounted on two or more V-pulleys. Vent, an opening into a cooling or holding tank for maintaining atmospheric pressure during filing, emptying and cleaning. Venturi, a specially shaped tube with a small or constricted area used to increase velocity and reduce pressure. Vertical boring mill, a machine for finishing purposely designed for finishing holes. The work table revolves on a vertical axis and the cutting tool, which may be a drill or a boring tool or turning tool, is arranged above the table and may be fed laterally, toward or away from the center of the table, or up or down in any position. Vertical clearance, distance measured from the cutting edge of shear to nearest potentially obstructing member such as main truss backbone, frame, beam, release mechanism, etc. Vertical disc row cleaners, two opposed concave disc blades with a smooth or notched sharpened circumference to remove surface residue and or soil from the row area. Vertical mulching, an operation in which a vertical band of mulching material is injected into the slit immediately behind a tillage tool shank. Vertical shaft turbine pump, a centrifugal pump with one or more impellers discharging into one or more bowls and column pipe used to connect the bowls to the discharge head on which the pump driver is mounted. Vertical spindle milling machine, a machine used to of any end milling and face milling operation. It is more adaptable than the machine with the horizontal spindle because the cutter and the surface being machined are in plain view, instead of over and back of the work. Vertical tool spacing, the vertical distance between corresponding points on adjacent tools when projected upon a vertical plane parallel to the direction of travel. V-shaped, a V-shaped or modified V-shape on the circumference of the tire or wheel to concentrate soil firming directly over the seed. Vibrating needle atomizer, an atomizer in which liquid under pressure is supplied through a vibrating hollow needle to form a jet which is broken into uniform droplets. Vibrating reed atomizer, a vibratory atomizer in which individual droplets are ejected from a liquid reservoir by a needle point attached to an oscillating reed. Vibratory atomizer, the class of devices wherein an oscillating solid surface is the primary source of energy. Viscosity, the property of an oil by virtue of which it offers resistance to flow. Viscosity index, oil decreases in viscosity as temperature changes. The measure of this rate of change of viscosity with temperature is called the viscosity index of oil. Volatile, evaporating readily at average temperature on exposure with air. Volute pump, type of centrifugal pump with a casing made in the form of spiral or volute curve. V-pulley, wheel with one or more grooved rims used to transmit motion and power by means of one or more V-belts. Walking type agricultural tractor, self-propelled machine having a single axle designed primarily to pull and propel trailed or mounted agricultural implements and machinery. Water brake, a device for engine testing in which the power is dissipated by churning water. Water-cooled, system in which water, liquid coolant serves as the cooling medium which circulates in the water jackets to absorb the heat of the engine. Water jacket, the enclosure directing the flow of cooling water around the parts to be cooled. Water power, theoretical power required for pumping. Weld, is a localized coalescence is produced by heating to a suitable temperature. with or without the application of pressure and with or without the use of filler rods. Wheel slip, ratio of the difference between the speed of wheels with load to the speed without load. Wheel tread, center to center distance between two front or rear wheels. Wheel trencher, an excavator which uses a rigid round wheel with attached buckets and cutters to carry spoil out of the trench. Wide press wheel, a single semi-pneumatic or steel wheel which is typically wider than 100 mm (3.9 inches), centered over the seated row. Wide fluted coulter loosener, a coulter for loosening a strip of soil behind a soil and residue cutting component. Wide press wheel, a wide, single semi-pneumatic or steel which is typically wider than 100 mm centered over the seated row. Wide sweep opener, a shank-mounted sweep shovel with low lift angle wings spanning a lateral width of 1.5 to 1.8 meter. Width of cut, transverse distance between the top or bottom cutting edges of the end discs. Wings, projections attached to the sides of tillage tools to increase the volume of soil, which can be disturbed, or to control the nature and distance of soil movement. Wings usually have lift, tilt, and side angles, which are different from those in the orientation of the main tool and standard. Wire loop cylinder, type of threshing cylinder wherein wires of the same arc and size are attached on the periphery of the cylinder in tandem arrangement with or without the threshing concave. Withdrawal from end grain is a withdrawal type connection wherein the nail is driven parallel to the grain of holding member. Withdrawal from side grain is a withdrawal type connection wherein the nail is driven perpendicular to the grain of the holding member. Working width, the actual measured width of the working element of the machine, measured at a right angle to the direction of travel. Hope it helps. Thank you again for listening. Please like, subscribe and comment your suggestion on topics you want to hear. Links of previous topics are stated in the description box below. See you in the next part. Bye. Rar.